welcome to a brand new episode of the podcast entitled Couch Potatoes Unite! Which is based on a blog of the same name because without it, we'd be up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. My name is Kylie and I love TV. If you feel the same, keep listening and or checking out our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, as you're bound to find some common ground or something you like. For Couch Potatoes Unite, we're all about the wonders and the unique long-form storytelling of the small screen. CPU is upon our summer season and hopes you've been following releases of brand new episodes of the podcast on Wednesdays, as well as new blog entries on some Tuesdays. And as always, we have several more new episodes on the way. Because the panelists and I live lives behind our podcast, the episodes are published once per week. Subscribe to the blog or the podcast via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and via Google Play to stay on top of brand new episodes. Episodes already published discuss a variety of shows around the water cooler, including, but not limited to, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, The Vampire Diaries, Orange is the New Black, The Good Place, Grace and Frankie, Fuller House, Game of Thrones, Broadchurch, Stranger Things, iZombie, and American Horror Story. Plus, new episodes are in the works, including revisits for Doctor Who, A Series of Unfortunate Events, The X-Files, Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., New Girl, The Originals, Supernatural, Gotham, Once Upon a Time, 13 Reasons Why, and the DCTU panel will revisit all 4 shows in the CW's Arrowverse. We'll be launching new panels covering Sense8, The Crown, Will and Grace, Westworld, and Arrested Development. We'll be launching a new feature called Versus, where we'll be comparing shows in a spicy debate. And because we look back at shows now past, we'll be looking back at one of our most popularly requested panels of all time, which is Friends, and I promise you it is coming. By the way, did you know that CPU also, from time to time, goes live? We've been live from the Bunker, comedy outlet Mondays at Dog Story Theater and Grand Rapids Comic-Con, and we're planning more live appearances and other cool stuff. So make sure you like or follow us at our Facebook page, our Twitter at CPU Podcast, our Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite, or subscribe to the blog, our YouTube channel, our iTunes channel, our Stitcher Radio channel, or find us on Google Play. In the meantime, if you don't hear a show in this podcast format, fellow panelists and I still write reviews and we always seek new panelists, so if you have any interest in joining the discussion, say hello by finding us at any of those outlets I've mentioned. At the very least, stop by, leave us a thumbs up, comment, review. We like feedback, but you don't have to be prudish like the internet when it comes to Moira's naked photos. Best wishes, warmest regards. Today we're around the water cooler and taking a first look at the first 2 seasons of the cult favorite Canadian sitcom that currently airs on cable outlet Pop in the U.S. The show is Schitt's Creek, and this episode is the first part of a 2-part miniseries in which CPU catches up on the sleeper hit of a quirky show. In this episode, we're discussing Season 1, which aired from February 11, 2015 to May 6, 2015, and Season 2, which aired from January 19, 2016 to March 29, 2016. We'll discuss Seasons 3 and 4 in a subsequent episode. Schitt's Creek is a Canadian television sitcom created by Eugene Levy and his son Dan Levy, which initially premiered in Canada on CBC television on January 13, 2015. The series has won various accolades, including an ACTRA Award and 11 Canadian Screen Awards. The series stars Eugene Levy as Johnny Rose, a wealthy video store magnate, and Catherine O'Hara as his wife Moira, a formerly successful soap star. The family loses their fortune when their business manager fails to pay their taxes. They're forced to rebuild their lives with their sole remaining asset, a small town named Schitt's Creek, which they had bought their son as a joke birthday gift years before. The story revolves around the family's life living in 2 adjacent rooms of a rundown motel with their pampered 20-something adult children, David and Alexis, played by Dan Levy and Annie Murphy, respectively. Additional cast includes Chris Elliott, Jennifer Robertson, and Emily Hampshire. The show is based on a series of situations contrasting the once rich family and their worldly big city attitudes with sudden small-town living and the honest, down-to-earth, hard-working residents of Schitt's Creek. Around the water cooler today are 3 of our most frequent panelists and 1 of our occasional panelists and your very involved moderator, all of whom are excited to partake of the unique small-town life of Schitt's Creek. As always, it should be noted that all of our panelists have watched all episodes of all available seasons of this program, more or less to date, and may discuss sensitive plot points, comedic situations, jokes, and quotes that may have the most and best impact on a first watch. So for those of you who have not watched any of Schitt's Creek and plan to do so at some point, listen at your own risk, as there may be major spoilers. At this time, I am going to introduce the panel. This is how it's going to work for those of you who are new to Couch Potatoes Unite. And just as a refresher for our panelists, what I'll be doing is asking you to identify yourself by your first name. Just your first name. We don't need any more of your life story beyond that. But you can tell us how you came to watch Schitt's Creek, what made you start watching, what kept you watching, that whole business. And then you get to rank your interest in Schitt's Creek. You can do that whether you're looking at it from the end of season 2 or just in general. You answer however the spirit moves you, but it'll be along our standard character question that CPU uses, but it changes with each show we do. Are you ready for this panel?
Yes!
Oh, yeah.
Woo. I think they are enthusiastically ready. Maybe. So what I'm going to do is read the standard character question that changes with each show we do, and it goes like this. How would you rate your interest in Schitt's Creek? Do you think this show rocks? You love how the town is named after the mayor, and that the end result of that gimmick provides the title for the show, which is so delightfully appropriate to you. Then again, you don't necessarily have a reliable internal measurement for what constitutes appropriate. Sure, the main characters can be a little grating, and you find ways to laugh at them in spite of themselves, but you just all around love the show, like Mayor Roland Schitt. Do you think this show is just a hoot, almost like an unexpected cross between Arrested Development and Waiting for Guffman? You feel sorry for the main characters at times, but think their hearts are in the right place. In fact, you're willing to go the distance with them no matter the pitfalls, like Jocelyn Schitt. Do you like this show? You think it offers some surprises, or at least it surprises you, even when you expect not to like it. Still, it's proving to be a great comfort to you during hard times, and you plan to stick with it, at least for the time being, like John or Johnny Rose. This show makes you laugh in the most ironic way. You think the main characters are kind of atrocious, but you do have a particular affection for the David character that you just can't seem to shake. Warmest regards, like Stevie Budd. Oh my God. Okay, you can never openly admit you like this show, lest it ruin your tenuous and mostly put on rep, but there are some highlights. The David character, for example, and Stevie also warms the pretend coldness of your heart. At the same time, there are some glaringly huge flaws, and you think a reno or a redo would be in the show's best interest, like David Rose. Oh my God, David, you can't say you super enjoy this show, squinty eye face plus duck lips, but you can at least agree that the men on Schitt's Creek are the best kind of eye candy, and that you could maybe achieve some personal growth if you could find a way to like yourself by yourself, and the show to boot while you watch it, like Alexis Rose. Despite the fact that you believe you could act circles around the room staffing the cast of this show, and though you're appalled by the general state of the production values, you're willing to make the best of it because you're nothing if not resilient, and as long as you can have some of your nice things to tide you over in the meantime, like Moira Rose. Sometimes the show breaks your heart, but you find ways to laugh at it, or you only watch it because your significant other watches it, for better or for worse, like Ted Mullins, or you don't really care about this show. You're mostly just along for the ride, though the Alexis character makes you chuckle at times, like Mutt Schitt. Who would like to start?
My name's Amy.
Hi, Amy.
Hi, Amy.
Hello.
Hello. I started watching this show because my friend Jerry introduced me to it. He kind of knows my sense of humor. He thought that I would really enjoy the show, so he suggested it to me, so I looked it up, and lo and behold, I fell in love with it. My interest in the show, I think I would be like the Jocelyn Schitt character. I really love the show. I just think it's awesome, but I can't say that I'm like Roland Schitt because I just can't say that. I can't make myself say that, but
because you don't want to be.
I don't want to be like
him?
Roland Schitt. I can't say that. I just can't make myself say that. But I do think that the show's a hoot, and I love all the characters. I think it's really a lot of fun.
Great. Welcome back, Amy. This is Amy's second podcast. The last time she was on the CPU podcast was a couple of years ago when we did our look back at Ally McBeal.
Yes.
And it was super fun.
Yay!
Yay! Welcome back, Amy.
Thank you.
I'm Nick.
Hi, Nick.
This is also my second podcast.
False.
This week.
That's true.
I struggle with it as well, but I think I'm going to go with Roland Schitt because I've really, really enjoyed this show. He's probably my least favorite character,
Sure.
but I really enjoy the show.
How did you come to watch Schitt's Creek?
I think I just saw it on Netflix, and I saw Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara and had to watch it.
Okay. What made you keep watching?
Because it's Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara. And then I didn't know Dan Levy until this, and he's hilarious as well. Well, the whole cast is great, so it's real funny. That's why.
All right. Welcome back, Nick. Nick is on he is our second most involved podcast panelist, so if you like nerdy TV and some other related TV, you probably have heard Nick's voice.
It's mostly nerdy.
It's mostly nerdy. I'm just being straight with the listener.
I'm Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Howdy ho. I am married to Nick, so I started watching
Dynamics.
it with him. I'm with him. I don't remember why we started watching it, but
Yeah, I think it was just on Netflix.
I think it's just Netflix was like, you guys would probably like this. And we were like, all right, thanks, Netflix. And we did like it. It's very, very funny. Although I remember the first episode not like being like laugh out loud hysterical, but being like, this is really smart. I cannot say that I'm Roland because he's so gross. But I'm going to say I'm Stevie because the show makes me laugh. I think some of the main characters are kind of atrocious, but I really love David so much. And
Warmest regards.
warmest
Best
regards.
wishes.
Best wishes to all.
Welcome back, Sarah.
It's good to be here, Kylie. I would be on more panels, but I don't watch comic book things, so I'm...
That's true. Sarah's probably in our top 5, though, to be
Probably.
fair. She does a lot with Nick.
I do. I just don't watch all of the DC and Marvel stuff, because I just don't. I'm out.
But she's on other ones.
I am. You can listen for me,
Yeah.
if I'm a favorite of yours. Tweet us. Let us know who you like.
Let us know your favorite panelist.
Your favorite panelist.
Let's
we should
hurt
do
some
a poll.
feelings.
We should do
We're not doing that. However, if you go to our website, we do have a page that lists every CPU panelist and what their panels are.
Yeah.
You can see what Sarah is on.
You can find it and then download those specifically.
Right.
You're not supposed to be encouraging competition. We're united couch potatoes.
If it gets people to listen, then I say we do it, guys. Next.
Off the rails.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
Hello. I am going to say that oh no, we're not there yet. I love the show. I started watching it because my good friend from college, Michaela, mentioned it, and she said I should watch it. Hi, Michaela. And I was over at my mom's, and she was like, I want something to watch. So I told her to put on Schitt's Creek and tell me how it was, to see if I should watch it. And she said, I didn't like it. And so she stopped after 2 episodes. And then one day I just started watching it, and I was like, okay, this is hilarious. And Catherine O'Hara gives me life, so absolutely.
She is a gem.
She is, yes.
She's a national treasure. Canada.
Well,
Don't blame her.
I'm gonna probably say I'm Jocelyn Schitt. I think this show's hilarious. I'm not like head over heels in love with it, but I laugh out loud a lot. The cast is hilarious. The writing's great, and it's good binge TV. It's one of the shows that I like to just like sit down and just watch all of them.
It's true. You can just sit and
Yeah.
watch for hours
Yeah.
and just not get bored. And then Netflix says, "Are you still watching?" And then you're like, "Yes, I am still watching."
Stop judging me, Netflix.
Well, welcome back, Andrew. Should we cover now while we're recording all the ones you're still on? 13 Reasons Why, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Orange is the New Black, Fuller House.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, they're not so very enthusiastic on the channel, but they're on it. And he's done a few others too. Andrew's been around.
Yes, I've done a lot of the looking back ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, welcome back, Andrew.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
Of course. And I have already mentioned my name is Kylie. And I started watching Schitt's Creek basically because Nick said, we should do a podcast about Schitt's Creek. And then Sarah agreed because they're married and they watch it together. And then the list kind of ballooned from there. And so eventually I started watching. I kept watching it because it's funny. It's actually pretty funny. As I agree with Sarah, it doesn't start off like you have to kind of get used to it a little bit and what they're going for. But then once you do and you get what they're going for, it's Hilarious. I would also ascribe myself as Jocelyn Schitt. That I wrote that one with me in mind. It does remind me of a cross between Arrested Development and Waiting for Guffman. I do feel sorry for the main characters at times and think their hearts are in the right place. And I'm willing to go the distance with them, but there are pitfalls to the show, which we will, of course, most likely discuss. But before we do that, because we're taking a first look, we now have to do the CPU star rating scale, which does not change with each show we do, but we do this when we're taking a very first look, because this is actually part of a 2-part miniseries, where we're catching up. So we're starting with seasons 1 and 2 today. Because of that, I now need to ask you, how would you rate Schitt's Creek overall? Is it 5 stars? Holy smokes, it's the greatest thing. You have to watch everything. It's the best sitcom that Canada ever produced, and you just can't not watch it. 5 stars. Is it 4 stars? It certainly seems intriguing. You're going to keep watching, but you see possible pitfalls in the premise. Is it 3 stars? You're going to give it one more try. There are things you like, things you don't. You're going to see which things are allowed to flourish. Is it 2 stars? Maybe you only watched part of it, or you couldn't get beyond a certain number of episodes. Chances are you're mainly bored, but there's some intrigue or fascination that could hold together, no matter how unlikely, although you might not be able to convince yourself to keep watching. Or is it 1 star? Pass on this one, guys. It's a snoozer. It's not funny. It's not interesting. It's not your cup of tea. You think Catherine O'Hara's put on accent is just appalling and everybody else is horrible, and why is Chris Elliott on the show? There are too many options to waste time on this one star. Who would like to start?
There's a lot of good shows in Canada. Like Cooking with Mom, for example, and can't do that on television. But this I gave 5 stars. I have to watch everything, holy smokes. Oh, this is Amy.
Yes, that's
Okay.
fine.
Next.
This is established. 5 stars, okay.
Nick, 5er.
Because.
Oh, it's real good.
I mean, Amy had this whole pitch about Canada.
This is a juxtaposition to that.
I see.
We'll discuss more later.
Okay.
I give it 5 stars. Holy smokes. Can't look away from this show.
Wow, that was the most lukewarm 5 stars.
No, I mean, what do you want from me?
No more than that. Sir.
Okay, good.
I give it 4.5 stars.
That's not an option.
Well, no. Listen. In this rating scale, I do not have as many all caps exclamation points as the 5-star on CPU's rating. And 4 is not good enough, so 4.5. I like it a lot.
Okay.
But I also, like, I started watching, the 3rd season. I was like, oh, wait till I can binge it. It's not one of those where it's like, oh my god, I have to watch the next season now. So I don't think that's 5 stars. Because a 5-star show, I'd be, like, anticipating.
Okay.
Sorry, I suck. I know.
No, you're fine. I'm also going to rate it 4.5 stars.
We both.
Yes.
I didn't know that was an option, you guys.
What do you mean you didn't know it was an
I
option?
didn't know we could get halves.
You haven't done a first look for a while, have you?
I still would not.
I'm sticking
we
with
get-
my 5.
Yeah, me too.
We get into weird decimals on some shows.
Spencer has to purposefully make fractions that don't math well. Like 2.7985. I'm like,
We'll throw a
what?
repeater in there.
Or, yeah, 3.333. You could just say 3 1/3. It's fine.
British math. There you go.
Anyway, I would also say 4.5 stars. When I first started watching this show, I mean, even though I knew Nick and Sarah loved it, it didn't strike me as holy smokes. It took me a while to get used to it. However, and it is slightly derivative, at least in terms of its premise. However, it's really funny, it's unique, it's following its own unique rhythm, and I don't see a lot of pitfalls in the premise. In fact, as I've watched into the 2nd season, and we're talking about seasons 1 and 2 today, I can see it only getting better and better, and that's the rumor. That's what people say about what happens. So, 4.5 stars. It's not a holy smoker, okay? Okay. So I answered the "Did you like the show right away?" question. How about the rest of you?
I liked it. I think it took a little while to,
Love it.
yeah. I like to really get into it, and it's not like... I compare it to Arrested Development a lot because there's a similar storyline, but then there's very big differences. And, like, Arrested Development is really over the top and in your face, even though there's lots of subtleties throughout. But there's more subtleties to it, so it takes a little while to kind of actually shift into the gear of a show that is, like, taking the time to craft something well.
One of the things I really liked about it were the expressions that everyone had. Just their shell-shocked expressions from the very first episode. Just the, I can't believe this is happening to us expressions were just so well crafted from the very first episode. They were well played throughout the first few episodes, and they were toned down as they came to live in the motel and everything, and they learned to adapt to their situation. They were just so well crafted from the get-go. I think that's what got me, especially as an actor. You could just see their shockedness from the very beginning. It just seemed real.
They had a good family dynamic, too,
Yeah.
which, I mean, obviously Eugene and Dan Levy are father-son. There's no denying it. I mean, they look like...
Catherine
Right.
O'Hara and Eugene Levy have been
They've done
Worked
everything.
working together
so
Right.
much.
But then you throw in the gal that plays their daughter, and I'm Annie
Murphy.
Yeah.
And it's like, yep, she's their daughter.
Yeah.
She would be there, and which is weird because Eugene Levy's real life daughter is on the show. She's
Yes.
the waitress,
She's
Yeah.
Twyla.
and it doesn't. But she's perfect as Twyla. This girl is perfect to play Alexis. Like she's just.
Yeah.
It really their chemistry is on point as a
Yeah.
family.
I appreciated Alexis more. We rewatched it, getting closer to the podcast, and I appreciate that character a little more the second time around.
Yeah. One of the things, you guys are comparing it a lot to Arrested. I'm going to tell you, this show reminds me of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And here's why. Because on that show, there's these weird scenarios happening, crazy things, and they take turns having somebody be the voice of reason, and it makes sense. And I kind of feel like they do that on Schitt's Creek. Like, there's one episode where Johnny is, like, buying raw milk and doing a weird thing, and his daughter's like, why do you need all this milk? And she's the one that's like, this is crazy. But then in the very next episode, she's doing something crazy, and someone else is like, why are you being so crazy? And it reminds me of that show, how they, like, kind of take turns sort of being the voice of reason. And also, Always Sunny season 1 took a little while for me to, like, get into.
I felt the same with Arrested, though.
Yeah.
I still never watched that show.
Oh,
I know.
Watch it. It's so
I
smart.
know.
Okay, well then don't.
I want to watch it. It's just like one of those things where it's like I go to watch and I'm like, there's so many. I can't just get
It's really not
sucked
that
in
many.
and
The
watch.
rest-
There's not that many.
I mean,
go
they just
very
did season
fast.
5,
Yeah.
but they're not full seasons.
I know.
It's not 20 episodes.
The first 2 have full
Yeah.
seasons.
When I just start watching something that's been on for a while, I start to feel overwhelmed, and then it takes over me, like having to watch it.
And that worries me from a medical standpoint. Kind of the point of TV is the opposite of that. So I don't know.
No, you know, I mean, I just like...
Maybe do some yoga or something. Just bring it back down.
Yeah. Yes. I'd say I started liking this show a lot around episode 4, maybe. I feel like it was one of those shows once I got to understand the characters. That's when I started really liking it. At first, it was like funny. There were things I liked, but once like I got the characters, it started becoming really funny, and the jokes landed more.
My gateway was David and Stevie. I love the David character. I love the Stevie character. The Stevie character I relate to a lot. So I just thought, oh my gosh, they're hilarious. They actually remind me of me and somebody else, which I won't mention. And
Please do. Safe space. No one's listening.
except the recording.
Stevie's kind of got a really good place to come from. Like, she's in this small town where she grew up. She doesn't really fit in it. I mean, she's too cool for school, and yet she's here. Like, yes, I will get you a towel. Just leave my lobby.
Yeah.
Just get out of my face.
Yeah. Can you call room service? No. Like, she's just very, like, working with what she has.
Yes. Which I relate to. But then for some reason the David character comes down to earth far enough to relate to her, and that is what won me over immediately. And then Catherine O'Hara, the national treasure of Canada / possibly the United States, was a very close second. Like her affect was already funny, and Sarah had already shown me some clips of her, so I knew what she was going to do walking into it. The more they kind of let her go and do her thing, the funnier she became. So I was like,
I like the thing with the wigs. How she's always got her wigs.
Right.
And
I
but
didn't know
everybody,
a soap star needed so many wigs.
I guess.
Yeah.
And of course her and Eugene's relationship. It really is loving. Like you really feel like they're married, and it's just very.
Well, the whole family is loving. I mean,
Yeah.
they all have each other's back, all of them.
Yeah.
Which is really awesome. I mean, usually when you have a family, then the kids hate their parents and everything, but this whole family, they all look out for each other, which is, I think, awesome.
And also a key difference from Arrested Development. So
Yeah, that's
that's
one of
the big
difference.
differences.
Well, and they didn't. What we're watching is them getting to know each other. That's a big part of the show. Is they have to rely on each other now because they kind of don't want to. I mean, Alexis is trying to leave and just leave him behind as often as possible until they start to get settled. The parents are always talking about we should spend more time with the kids. And the kids are pushing them away like they're still adolescent, not adults. That should probably just go get a job and not live in that town with them.
Well, they make strides in season 2. But not in season 1, so let's talk about that season. What did you like, what didn't you like? We're kind of hedging the beginning, but what else about the first season and your first impressions of these characters?
I mean, I really hated the Roland character right off the bat.
Yeah.
They didn't want you to like him, but then as time goes on, I think they portray him as how the Schitt's family sees him, but he's a little bit more humanized, but he still has those moments of, it's almost like a cartoon how gross he is sometimes.
I never liked him.
Yeah.
I don't
ended up
like
liking
Chris
him at all.
Elliott.
Yeah.
But he always plays that gross part.
He does.
Yeah.
And bless his heart, someone's got to do it, I guess.
The only time I ever liked him was in Groundhog Day, and he wasn't playing a gross character.
Oh yeah, I'm
I
like,
don't
wow.
remember him.
He's the
in that.
cameraman.
He's the cameraman.
Yeah, I mean, you know that they wrote that character very deliberately, and probably for Chris Elliott. I mean, I think he's friends with them, and he's Canadian too, right?
He is. Was he on SCTV?
Yeah.
I don't know about SCTV.
Okay.
I think
My
he's younger,
mentor
like a younger
founded
generation.
SCTV.
What?
My mentor founded SCTV.
What is SCTV?
Second City Television.
Oh, okay.
It was like John. It was John
Before
Candy.
Saturday Night Live, there was SCTV.
Oh,
Rick
okay.
Moranis.
I know her.
I'm blanking on all these hilarious people. Martin Short,
Uh-huh.
What's her name?
Catherine O'Hara. Is that what you're saying?
No.
I know.
Wasn't
I know who you're thinking of, and I can't remember her name.
also an original SNL, right? What's her name?
No.
Wasn't she?
Gilda
No?
Gilda
Radner.
Radner wasn't
Radner,
on
was she not?
SCTV.
Lorraine Newman.
Jane Curtin.
No.
I'm out.
Anywho, it was a TV thing that Andrew's mentor founded.
Season 1.
So Chris Elliott, gross.
Jocelyn helps. I mean, there's a lot of moments where you're like, why is she with him?
Yes.
But you kind of see and don't mind that. I mean, we're getting more into season 2 with that, how we see that relationship. But I really do like Jocelyn, and I like her and Catherine O'Hara playing off each other.
I do enjoy Twyla a lot. I didn't notice her as much the first time through, and then when we rewatched, all the comments she makes about her family is totally dysfunctional, and I missed half of it the first time. Yeah, she was a stripper, or more like a prostitute. Like, she says things, and you're like, what? That was your mom?
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, if you rewatch, she makes comments all the time about, like, family members having some dysfunction.
I remember her saying something about her bike when she was learning how to ride a bike, but that might be a later
That was a second
episode.
season. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. So not further. All right.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
All right. But yeah.
Mutt's not one of my favorite characters, but I like the joke they kind of play where I don't think it might not even be until season 2, where he's actually in a scene with his parents, Roland and Jocelyn.
Well, in the first season, maybe if you mean both parents, in the first season, Alexis follows him to his farm and sees him with his mom, but she thinks he's having an older
affair.
woman on the side. Yeah.
Yeah. When is it that we find out that Jocelyn is his mom?
I think
Sure.
it's that episode.
Yeah.
It's a pretty early
It
episode.
is in season 1.
But
Then.
then
Yeah, we find out. Okay.
literally, I feel like it isn't until almost the season 2 finale that they're in a scene together.
Right.
And they
Okay.
say something
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I haven't seen you in a while.
Okay.
I think there was
yeah.
a season 1 episode, because I think at some point they also go to the farm and make some comment about how he's living in the farm, and I don't know.
Okay.
It's been a while since I've watched the first season. I did not rewatch anything. This was my first time through. But I watched season 1 kind of back, and then season 2 when we were ready to record. So.
You do get more out of it from rewatching. There's subtlety.
There are.
I mean, there's a lot of shows that there's usually an iPad or a phone near my face for part of it, but you miss a lot if you have a second screen experience going on with this, because there's a lot of expressions and how they're playing. Like, sometimes the punchline is how the other character reacts visually.
Right,
to
if
the
you're
lines.
not watching it continuously and you're like doing something else at the same time, then you will miss a lot. Like I was doing something on the computer while I was watching it like the second time through, and I missed a lot. Maybe that was the yoga scene. I don't know. I don't know.
They're in yoga for a while.
I missed it.
I wish I rewatched season 2. I rewatched season 1 recently, and I enjoyed it more the second time. Little subtleties of characters that I noticed that I didn't the first time.
I think because you have some big, well-known actors as the leads, that the little bit you get from the other townsfolk, they're great, but you don't notice them as much till you rewatch them. You kind of remember, oh yeah, they are there quite a bit, and like Bob. Bob's probably one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, he's funny.
Sarah's just laughing thinking about it.
I do enjoy Bob and the whole funeral and the sneaking into their cabin because they thought it was Roland's cabin, and
Well, we didn't want to interrupt.
we didn't want to interrupt you, so we're just waiting out here. Okay.
Is season 1 harder to remember?
No,
I mean,
it's the opposite for me.
what else do you want to know?
Anything you didn't like about the show in the first season? Or anything that potentially turned you off? I know we have 3 5-star people, but...
It took me a while to get to, like, Alexis. Like,
I would
I
agree
agree
with that.
that.
I'd say towards
rewatching
the
her, I like
end,
her more.
right, yeah. I mean, it took me to probably around episode 9, just give or take, the first time watching it. And then I was like, oh, she's funny. I like her. I like the character. When I rewatched it recently, last week, I liked her from the beginning.
I think she gets funnier in season 2. I would agree with that. Alexis, I probably had the hardest time laughing at for any reason.
She spends most of it doing her community service with Mutt.
Right.
And that storyline I don't really care about as much.
I don't care about her and Mutt. I liked when Ted and her were like, that was a fun dynamic.
I liked it with her and Ted, and I felt bad when she left him for Mutt.
I also felt bad for
She didn't feel
Twyla.
bad. They're both assholes.
Well, Ted's not an asshole.
He was an asshole.
Ted's not an asshole.
The vet?
Justify.
Yeah, you're wrong.
I thought Ted was
I
very
think the whole...
Ted is sweet.
I think that's the whole point of his character is, like, he's too nice for her.
And therefore too boring.
Yeah, but he was, I don't know. Maybe I
I don't know where you're getting he's an asshole. I think Mutt
Maybe
is
I
at
didn't
least
like that
12%
dynamic,
more
so
of an
it's just
asshole.
like, yeah.
There was one episode that I thought that I didn't like. The one where David was selling his clothes.
Yeah.
I didn't think he would sell his clothes.
I know.
Well, you didn't in the end, did he?
No, but it didn't seem like a David thing to do. Because you would think that he would be too attached to his clothes.
And cling to what little he has left.
Yeah.
You know,
But that hotel's gross.
that episode reminded me of you, Andrew, because Andrew always, when I'm like, oh, I like your shirt, he always tells me, like, where it's from or what it cost. Or, oh, yeah, I got this. My mom got me this. And it just reminded me of David being like, I got that shirt, and it was this much money. It just reminded me of you. Not like you spent $780 on a shirt. Maybe.
No, because if I would buy a shirt that expensive, I would get it at like 70% off. I'd never buy things
So there you go.
And, yeah.
So he's
I
kind of
shop
a
at the-
David too.
I'm a Taurus. I mean,
So am I.
we're materialistic.
I am
You
not.
missed that trait, I guess.
Whoa.
Yes.
This is true confessions.
Yes.
For you panelists.
So I didn't think that one was realistic.
I would agree, Amy.
Okay.
Also, it was earlier on. It was in one of the first episodes, so I thought,
Do you know what really
this is funny?
bothered me the first time through, but that I got and understood and loved the second time through was Stevie and David sleeping together.
Yes.
The first time through, I was like, this is not realistic. I don't like it. and it's icky and it's weird. But then the second time through, I was like, yup, I get it. And I like the scene where she's saying, I only drink red wine.
Ah, yes, the wine scene.
Do you? And that metaphor went over my head the first time.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking. But this time, I love his whole thing. He's like, well, I drink red wine, and I drink white wine. I drink all the wine. I don't care. I drink the wine.
I'd rather have the wine. I don't care about the label.
Yeah, I don't care about the label. And then how his dad is just like, yeah, he does whatever.
He's pansexual.
I'm cool with it. And I thought that was a really neat message, and I think it was very well portrayed. Mm-hmm. And I think they did a drunken thing and then were awkward about it, and then they kind of were like, let's try this again, and then they were like, no.
Yep.
I got it the second viewing. But the first time through I was like, I don't need that.
I got it the first time only because he did explain it with the wine metaphor. I mean, I think Stevie and the viewing audience are supposed to think he's gay. There's a cloud of mystery about who he really is because he doesn't really talk about it. Alexis will tell you everything she's done, all of her exploits, and even, how the law enforcement got her out of the exploits, But with David, he's much more tight-lipped. He kind of just spills it out at strategic points. So I thought this was really good because it's one of the few, I think, queer characters that doesn't fall within a kind of a stereotype, if you will.
Yeah, and we're not seeing the journey of his parents finding out or the acceptance. They already know, they've already accepted, this isn't an issue. That's not what we're viewing. We're viewing how this is his journey in this small town, trying to figure out who's where and who he can meet and do stuff with.
And he does have an affinity for her and she for him. And I think she's kind of lonely as well, so there's a little bit of that playing into it. And
definitely.
I don't know.
Well, and it was nice that after it happened, they were still like, we're still hanging out, so...
Yeah, they're still friends.
Yeah.
I like Johnny and... Oh, sorry. Are we still talking about that?
No, I just said they grew. Proceed.
I really find the Rose's sleeping attire funny. Like that Johnny's dressed like Ebenezer Scrooge.
And how they keep referencing it. I missed that the first time through. How his son will just be like, Ebenezer, and he's just walking away. And it's so funny.
And then
what
Moira
is she wearing?
has like a pantsuit on with a vest and a giant brooch, and that's how she's
And that's what she's sleeping in. It's hysterical.
That's
Yeah,
all I
those
had.
little things that make it funny because you can miss it. I totally missed how, they were going to do the multi-level marketing, selling the whatever was that product.
Pyramid scheme.
Yeah, the face stuff. And now David's just wearing bronzer like that whole episode. And I didn't think anything of it. And then the second time through, I was like, oh my gosh. And what's wrong with your face? Nothing. This is how I look. It's just funny. I love it.
It is very subtle. That's probably one of its most winning and most unique qualities.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a lot of sitcoms really bank on subtlety.
Well, and this is where I love Catherine O'Hara, and I probably won't say that enough, but her character is both over the top, and her line delivery is so subtle sometimes. It's so dry. I just love it. It's great. I don't know who else could play that part as well as she does.
I don't know.
It was written for her.
Well,
Let's be real.
I mean, with Eugene, right, but...
I just don't think I've frankly ever seen her in anything that I didn't find her 100% delightful and talented in. There, I've said it.
I think I probably enjoy her in this more than anything, though. Just because I think she is absolutely perfect, and everything that comes out of her mouth puts a smile on my face.
She's
the Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice is very important.
She's very
well, yes.
To the pop culture pantheon, I just want to say that. Also
Home Alone.
I mean, she's good in it, but it's not like...
I was going to go for
that was just a
Waiting for
paycheck.
Guffman.
I want you to give that another watch, because some of her line delivery about when her kid's missing, but she's like hysterical. It's just funny.
She's always great.
She's delightful. Catherine, I know you're not listening because...
She might be.
Maybe you are. We really care for you, Catherine.
That movie probably bought her a house.
Home Alone.
Yeah.
Oh,
At least.
Maybe Home Alone 2 combined. Probably. Maybe not that house that it was filmed in. That's like a...
I also enjoy her in Waiting for Guffman.
Well, all of the Christopher Guest films.
All of the Christopher Guest films, yes. Although I really like her in Waiting for Guffman.
I have to tell you, I've never seen Waiting for Guffman. I think I've seen all of the rest of those films except...
That's the
weird.
one you'd probably love the best.
I'm I'm sure I would love it. I don't know why. We have Best in Show. We have Home
Mighty
for...
Win.
We have Mighty Win. We have
And the winner is...
Is that what it's called? The Purim, Home for Purim? Or she's going to win, they think she's going to win an Academy Award.
I can't, now that you're just putting it out there, I'm having trouble getting
sorry.
hold of the title. I've seen all
For your
of them.
consideration.
Yeah,
Yes, for your consideration, that's it.
But I haven't seen Waiting for Government. I'm sorry, Catherine. Maybe if you come over, we could watch together.
Movie night! With or without Catherine.
I'll make a pie.
Call us, Catherine.
Call us.
Tweet at us. I don't even know if she's on Twitter. Anything else you want to say about season 1? Because I'm looking to talk about season 2.
Yeah, when we watched 1 and 2 together, so I'm not positive where the distinction.
It's
Like,
where
what
David-
happens at the end of
They
season
don't
1?
sell the town and David
Is it when
leaves
David leaves?
Yeah, he runs away.
and becomes Amish for like 3 days.
In season 2.
Yeah, yes.
You're jumping ahead.
I'm saying...
I think that's all I have to say about season 1.
He runs away. She tells him that she likes him a lot, and then that's what causes him to leave.
Yeah.
Oh,
like-
wait.
Stevie confesses
Ted
feelings
proposed.
Yeah,
to Alexis.
Yeah.
she did it with Mott.
She said yes if she was staying.
Right.
But she thought she was leaving.
So then she...
Right, and that's the only reason why she said yes.
Jocelyn gave away the fur coat.
Yeah.
Catherine's line about, like, there are certain things you don't do. Like, that just cracked me up.
She gave it to Ronnie, right?
Yeah.
I like Ronnie, too. She's fun.
Yeah.
She was like, there are
She's
certain
another one
things you
that-
don't do. Mix Coke with liquor. Smoke with the children. With a child in the car with the windows closed.
Let's talk about season 2.
Okay.
Season 2 has a little bit more plot heft. For even though it's a sitcom, there's more of a running through line for all of the characters. Because I think in the first season you're meeting the characters, so we get all the situations. They're the city fish in a country town kind of a business. But now there's almost, and you kind of find this out as the season progresses. There's more of an affection that the Roses have for their once upon a time birthday joke purchase. So what'd you think about season 2?
It really finds its footing. They know what they're doing. Season 2, that first episode, I think, is hilarious.
It's hilarious.
Moira obsessed about the bag being missing more than her son.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The Amish people, like, is
Ready.
it customary to have a meal? Not always.
Not always. Just go.
Just buy
You're
it.
fine. Thank you.
And they all can't get a hold of him. They have no idea where he is. And then the punchline to the episode is that I texted Alexis 4 days ago.
I don't have time to read all of your texts, David.
Yes.
That's a very fun brother-sister relationship, too.
It is. There's sort of, they clearly love each other in their own way. But
Yeah.
Did game night happen in season 1 or 2?
season 1 was game night.
I enjoyed that.
Season
episode.
2, we have the Jazzer Gal.
Jazzy Gals.
Jazzy Gals.
These choir of sorts.
Acapella.
Acapella choir led by Jocelyn. And Moira is going to audition. She's going to come in and show them how it's done. And she turns out to be the worst singer on the lot.
She's good in her own way.
Sure.
She's just different.
Well, she even has that moment where she comes in thinking she's the best, and then
Yeah,
she
she
hears the
realizes
audition,
that
and she's
she's
like,
not.
"No, I'm not going to do this."
Jessica. And you mentioned the raw milk episode earlier. That's in season 2. But actually what happens is Johnny thinks he's going to sell the raw milk, and he asks Alexis to order a certain amount, and then she's the one who
orders a lot.
She went
The
from
wrong
pints to gallons.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't know the difference.
And spends their entire unemployment check.
That's a fun moment in the car where, like, Roland is just, like, giving it all away.
Yeah.
I'm Jake, and that's also Jake. He just didn't know any other names. And this is Jennifer. But my birth name is Angelica. It's fun.
It is fun. Oh, and then there's the Mutt-Ted love triangle business. I'm not as into that. I actually don't care who she ends up with, honestly.
I don't either, but I like her more at working for Ted.
I like her working for Ted.
Yeah.
That's
And you
awesome.
get more
She does get a
dynamics
job
of
at the
her.
veterinary
Yeah.
hospital.
There's more chemistry with her and Ted than with her and Mutt.
I don't know if
Yeah.
Mutt's not a very good actor.
No.
We struggled with Mutt a little bit, and there's something about his face that's like,
It doesn't move.
It does.
is that what it is?
That's what it is.
And then when he shaved, I was like, your eyes are too piercing and your face, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that was Alexis's deal.
Maybe that was. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, because when he shaved and he looked kind of mannequin-y.
Yeah.
And when he had the beard, then it covered it up.
But it was such a big
yeah.
beard. I wanted it trimmed down. It wasn't okay. It was fine because she wanted Mutt and couldn't have him. And then when she had him, I was like, meow.
I just thought it was, that. I like her and Ted being friends.
I don't
Finally
think.
stopped
I don't know what
seeing-
happens later, so I'm just saying that.
I actually don't remember. 'Cause we stop when we rewatch.
I do
we stop.
remember, but I'm not going to tell you.
Oh man, she's got the power.
I can't tell you. I'd break the rules.
That's true. No spoilers.
Yeah. But I do like them working together.
It's fun because you think she's going to be really terrible, and then she was so compassionate to that woman.
Yeah.
And so sweet and helpful, and he was like, oh. But then in the very next breath, she, like, can't type, can't do anything.
Yeah, she
wanted
doesn't
to
know how
wear
to do
scrub
anything.
shorts. Like, she
Right.
has no. It's just,
She's got a really good heart.
mm-hmm.
She does.
Yeah, she doesn't have a good brain, but she's got a really good heart.
Yeah.
What about David getting a job at the blouse barn?
Okay, so he's got a good heart and he's got a good brain. He's the smart kid.
Mm-hmm.
He really has a good head for business, I think.
They did a lot for that character, and it was interesting that when he helps get the deal for Blouse Barn for his boss to make more money off of it, they wrote it in a very specific way to make sure he came off business savvy, because it wasn't that he didn't go to his dad for help, he wanted to prove himself. He went to his dad, and his dad had the wrong advice, which he's the business person, which obviously his business did fail. Not that they kind of try to make sure you know that it wasn't Johnny's fault.
Yeah.
But then they give him that scene where he doesn't. You should just accept the offer. You shouldn't ask for more.
Again, sometimes David does remind me of Andrew, but how he was like, you need to get all of these mannequins out of here. You need to get all of this stuff out of here. Like, we need, like, clean line. Like, that reminded me of something you would be like, no,
Leather
you need
poncho.
all of this crap out of here.
I see it a little.
To me, I think you're a stylish person. You're always like,
He's wearing a leather cape right now.
you
Is
guys.
it a leather poncho?
He's wearing a leather poncho.
He is not.
Jacob, do you have one though, don't you?
No.
He was appalled that she would even suggest that.
One thing I found interesting about David was he was polite, kind of. Like he would always say like thank you or whatever, but he would always be insulting at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like he couldn't go without being insulting, but he was smart, but he would always be polite too. It was like a confusing little juxtaposition.
Like to the one lady, he was
Yeah.
like, you can't wear that. No.
Yeah.
But I'll find you something better. Like, he's
Yeah.
not just trying to be, like, putting people down, but he's like, you're not buying that.
Well, I mean, he insulted the clothes in the store before he even interviewed for the job, and then she was like, but you insulted my clothes.
Right.
But then, like, he got all these, and then you saw what Jocelyn ended up getting, and she looked great.
Yeah.
You know, so clearly he's got an eye for stuff.
For maybe clothes, I wasn't as thrilled with his decor. It was maybe better than it was, but
I don't think he knew his
weird
demographic
animals.
either, because I'm
No.
pretty sure that Elmore was fine with it being a blouse barn and there being blouses, but
Yeah.
what do I know?
Well, you mentioned Jocelyn getting the clothes. It was so she could win a seat on the town council,
Yes.
which was a fun storyline, I thought.
Yes.
And I was rooting for Moira, especially. I feel like it was an obvious choice because you wouldn't want the mayor and the mayor's wife on the town council. But it was fun to see those dynamics, especially. I think that storyline is where you really get a lot of good Jocelyn scenes because she's so nice, but she wants to win. So balancing not fighting dirty and her guilt with all the signs and Moira lying about her signs being stolen, even though she
Right,
just
and
threw
having-
hers away.
Yeah, and having the kids make the signs and everything.
Well,
That was
yeah.
sweet.
What about them going to go speak to what is ultimately the Women's Business Association, and they just think they're speaking to a group of lesbians?
Yeah. But I love how Johnny figures it out and then grabs her and tells, like,
Well, he didn't have to. Yeah.
yeah. It was cute.
Well, he just can't. He can't finish the sentence, and then what's her name? The person.
Ron-
Ronnie.
Ronnie.
Oh, you expected that we'd all be black. That we'd all be this. That we'd all be. She just kept guessing, and he couldn't get. Wouldn't say what he thought they were all gonna. Then you get that little moment where you're. It's not positive, but it seems like the woman who's left with her is her partner. but because they just laugh about it, but you don't know for
I think
sure.
she is really.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Just
think
used
that's
to other sitcoms like making sure everyone gets every joke and
Right.
spelling it out, and they don't
care.
worry about that.
Get what you get and move through it. I really, when we're ready, I don't know if this is premature. I loved how this season ended. I thought it was really.
Oh.
Talk about it.
Well, so they it was their anniversary, and Roland and Jocelyn were going to take them out, and then they said, no, we want to go by ourselves. But they ran into their old friends who were snobby, and then Roland and Jocelyn showed up, and they were saying the worst things, and then Johnny stood up for them, and then they all went to the party and danced with their adult children.
Well, I love how Johnny stood up for, not only for Jocelyn and Roland, but stood up for the whole town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everything, and told off his rich, snobby friends. He's like, look, you didn't stand up for us
Yeah.
at all. You had all these opportunities to reach out to us. You did not. You know, we were dirt poor after being rich and being your friends, and you did not.
And these people don't have anything, but they gave us everything.
Right, yeah. And then all the loving on everybody in the barn. That was just nice.
It was sweet. It was
Yeah.
so sweet.
It was a very happy ending
Yeah.
of that season.
I felt heartwarming.
Those
Yeah.
moments, they're the biggest difference between this show and Arrested Development. I think it's what makes me like this show more, almost.
Whoa, them's tall claims and bold words.
Those moments, it's tough because they're both really good shows, but I sometimes wish Arrested would get to those moments a little bit more often, but then it really wouldn't be Arrested Development if they did. I don't know.
Eugene
I appreciate
Levy
it.
has a sincerity about him, too, that he can make a mushy speech like that, and it doesn't come off as mushy. It's just heartfelt. I think
Yeah.
he's genuinely good at that kind of speech. It reminds me of kind of when he's in the American Pie movies, and he's the dad, the kind of bumbling, awkward dad, but he's so sincere in his affection for his son. And in this, it's like this sincere affection for his family. You can see it. Especially because then you know it's his real son. I don't know, I like that kind of thing.
That's the thing that I think. I mean, you already mentioned sort of the naturalness of everybody, and I think that's why it feels so sincere. Everybody is very comfortable with each other
Yeah.
very quickly, and that's very unusual in TV nowadays. And I don't think the Arrested cast was comfortable right away. I mean, I think it took a minute for that to fall into place, and of course, they are negative. I can't say that I like this show more than Arrested. That would be like almost sacrilege in my brain, and I don't think I could get there. But I do, even though they have a lot of similarities, they also have enough differences that I could hold them up as equals too. They both have a sitcom format that does not follow a traditional sitcom format. They're both operating on high concepts that the average viewer may not actually find funny. And didn't in the case of Arrested Development. That's why it got canceled. In this particular case,
I don't think Schitt's Creek would make it an American network television. I don't
No.
think they have the patience for it.
I don't think so. I agree. I think that's why it's on little-known cable television outlet called Pop.
That's how I started watching it, actually.
Was on Pop.
Well, yeah, Big Brother After Dark is on, and so that's on after.
He says this so matter-of-factly. I'm
I
like,
know what that
So it was on.
okay. I know there's a Big Brother show that I've never watched. I didn't know
Well,
there
because
was
they're-
more.
Well, because they're filmed 24/7, so there's
Yeah.
always cameras on them. So at nighttime, you know, like
I didn't know
on
that was
Pop
on
channel, like yeah, just
While
like
they're
it is just
sleeping?
like what?
While they're sleeping.
Yeah, while they're showering, while they do everything except for
What
go.
is
to the
this show?
bathroom.
Maybe.
Big Brother. It's like a social experiment, and it fascinates
It's
me.
been on for decades now.
Yeah, I know.
And there's some awful people on it, and their true colors come out too. And you know, because they
Their
forget
true
cameras
color
are
colors.
everywhere because they never go off, and they're stuck in a house for 90 days until they're voted off. So yeah, that's how an episode of Schitt's Creek came on, because Big Brother After Dark wasn't on. I wanted to check it, and I was like, oh, this is that show. That episode was funny, and that's why I went back.
This is that
and
show that
watched
I
it
made
all.
my mom watch.
Pretty much, yeah.
Remember at the beginning of the story?
Oh, Elaine.
But didn't Pop used to be the TV Guide channel?
I have
Oh,
no
did
idea.
it?
I think
don't
it
know
did.
that.
I think that was the TV Guide channel. That was like, yeah.
I don't have cable, so I have no idea what's
Neither
going
do
on
I.
with
have
the cables.
no idea.
I only have
Which one?
the
Netflix,
streams.
Hulu, Amazon.
I have all of that, but I'm stuck on cable because I won't name the company but they're trying to charge me so much for internet if I don't have the bundle.
And
It's
because
like,
nobody
I can
likes
have, it was like, but like for the internet here, it's like $89 for the speed you have, but, I pay like $99, so for $10 more, I have all this. It's stupid. But, like, internet alone should not be that expensive
This
for my
is a
building.
different podcast.
Yeah.
He was right. So this show, we mentioned, was co-created by Eugene and Dan Levy, so Johnny Rose and David Rose, respectively. Eugene, of course, we've mentioned, has a long list of acting credits, including the American Pie film franchise, the Christopher Guest films. He co-created one other TV project, Maniac Mansion, which I do vaguely remember, but it only lasted one season. This is Dan's first TV project, although apparently he was on the Canadian version of MTV.
Lies. He was on Degrassi Goes Hollywood.
As a co-creator, not as an actor.
He was on it as in the show. Degrassi Goes Hollywood.
Right. This is Dan's first TV project as creator.
Oh, I thought you meant as an actor. Sorry.
No. I would say his first collaboration to create TV with his dad. What do you think of this collaboration? Would you watch any other shows on which they collaborate to create? Would you watch any shows they create individually? Or would you watch just anything that they're involved with, period?
I'd probably watch anything Dan Levy's involved with just to give it a try because I find him so entertaining.
Yeah.
And he seems nice on Twitter.
Isn't he
Yeah.
going to host something soon?
I don't know.
He's hosting the Canadian Bake Off.
That's right.
What
The
is
Great
the British
Canadian
one?
Bake
Yeah,
Off.
the Great
The
Canadian
Great
Bake
British Bake Off.
Yes, he's
Is
doing
there an
that.
American
No
one?
idea.
No, we
I
just
don't
watched the
think so.
British one. It's hilarious.
Fair enough.
Okay.
But he's hosting that. He's loving
Thank
it.
That's
you.
reality TV. We don't cover it on the CPU. We don't. We cover scripted television.
What? We're not going to do a Kardashians podcast?
Ooh.
No.
I don't know.
Maybe someday we'll start a reality spin-off and you can produce it.
Well,
'Cause
speaking
you
of,
apparently
this show,
watch it.
wasn't this show inspired by the Kardashians?
Was it?
I think it was. Like, this was, I feel like
Like if
they
the
were the
Kardashians lost all their
inspiration.
money.
Yeah, they were like the inspiration for this show. I'm almost positive.
I don't
But
see
don't quote me on that fully. But I'm probably right.
That's more than I know, Andrew.
Google it real quick, Sarah.
You Google
I
it.
don't have a lot of battery left on my phone. Someone else Google.
I would watch something that the Levies create
Agreed.
and or are involved
Yes.
with. I generally do when it's Eugene, and Dan is, he's amazing. He's a gem. He's a Canadian gem.
Agreed.
Yeah, I bet the Canadian Break-Off is hilarious because of his comments and it's just probably funny.
I hope he does it in the style of David, because that's even
I
more
just
funny.
kind of want to be friends with him.
Me too.
Yeah.
I bet he'd be our friend.
I feel like he retweeted something when...
He retweeted you, didn't you? Tweet
we were
that you were
watching
watching
it.
Schitt's Creek or something?
Yeah.
You got retweeted by Dan Levy?
Mm-hmm.
That's
So when we
great.
post this episode, we should tweet at him. I bet he would retweet
I bet he'll
it,
listen
'cause
to
he's
it.
real nice.
He seems cool. I don't know.
You guys gotta be funnier.
Damn it.
I am trying my best.
I blame Andrew.
Yeah.
Me too.
Everyone blames me for everything. It's okay.
Tell us more about your internet.
Yes! Schitt's Creek was inspired by the Kardashians and the Real Housewives, according to Deadline.
I don't think
You did
anyone
it.
was countering you.
No, I just wanted to look it up.
You just wanted to validate your brain.
I was like, I hope I'm not making this up. I swear I read it somewhere. And
I mean,
did.
to be fair, Alexis does seem like an amalgamation of all of those
Oh, yeah.
things.
I could see them saying, I wonder what it would be like if they lost all their money. But
Yeah.
then I think as they developed it, I don't know, these people seem a lot more likable than I can imagine.
Any of the Kardashians
Yeah.
being. Sorry, I don't particularly like them, and I don't understand why
I don't
anybody
really know,
watched them.
what they're all about. I don't know them. I guess.
They had a reality show, and then the country fell in love with
I
them.
know that, but I mean, I don't.
I blame Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah, Yes, it's always his fault.
Or Paris Hilton.
Well,
She was on their show?
no, but
No,
she was
but
kind
she's
of the
the
first
reason
rich
Kardashian-
person who was just famous for
Yeah.
being rich.
She's the reason Ryan Seacrest
truthfully, the
discovered
first
the
rich person that
Kardashians.
was famous just because is now the president of the United States.
We talked about that enough at an American
That's
Horror
true.
Story.
We did. How does Schitt's Creek compare to? We've already kind of drew a comparison to Arrested Development, but how does Schitt's Creek compare to other TV shows, other sitcoms? Although Sarah did mention Always Sunny too. Just how does it compare?
I think one of the reasons I compared
really
to Arrested.
interesting and really good, and I like it a lot.
Comparatively more than other TV shows.
I don't watch a lot of TV, and I really enjoyed this one. I mean, like we mentioned earlier, this is one that I could watch for hours on end, and there's not a lot of other TV shows that would hold my interest for that long. So,
All right.
There's a reason why it's been 2 years since your last podcast.
shut up.
I feel like you should be embarrassed for not watching too much TV.
That's what he meant. not how you're doing.
Oh, okay.
That did come off poorly.
Well, I watch a lot of TV. I don't interact with humans. And
True confessions. This is one of the most true confessions episodes we've ever done. I'm a Gemini, by the way. This goes
you
back.
guys are talking about big
Should we all
Tauruses.
say what we are?
You already did.
Nick's a
Science.
Cancer.
Oh, I'm
Cancer.
a Virgo.
Oh,
Okay, now I think we
good.
did.
We're all summertime-ish. Anyway,
I
how
think it's
does
hard to compare this to other shows. I think one of the reasons Arrested comes up into my head while I'm watching this is because I don't know what else compares. Always Sunny, after you pointing it out, I can see that, but it's kind of on its own level.
I mean, yeah, not the subject matter or
No,
anything,
right.
just how some
No,
of the
no.
character breakdown and the different roles that they play.
Yeah, I agreed with you.
In a weird way, it kind of reminded me of, so different structurally, but The Riches.
What's
if anyone
that?
watched that show.
Yeah.
Never
Got
heard
canceled
of
way
it.
too soon with Minnie Driver and
I know what you're talking
Eddie Izzard. They
Oh.
were the gypsies.
Yeah.
No, we don't say that word anymore. But they were the traveling...
Romani.
Yeah, but they're not Romani. They were Irish, right? Were
Lord.
they Romani? I don't know.
Can't
Gypsies are.
And then they basically someone died, right? But I mean, somebody died, and so they took over their life, and they are posing as I don't know. It's hilarious. The first season and a half are on Netflix, but then the show got canceled because of the writer's strike.
Oh yeah.
I think one of those
R.I.P.
reasons
Pushing Daisies.
this show is different. Most of the sitcoms I watched were from the 90s, and it was like, we gotta make 24 of these, and we have to just churn them out because we're running out of time. It isn't that many of them in a season, and you can tell they take their time.
And they're short. They're only 19 or 20 minutes or
That's
something.
because there's not commercials.
Yeah, but
I mean, they do the same amount as every
No,
other sitcom, though.
No, they're short.
No, it's like 22
22,
to 24
but
minutes.
in
Like
Canada,
Arrested
they're-
Development we're watching right now, it's
Canada
22
might
to
not
24.
have-
I feel like this one's 21 minutes. I feel like every episode says 21, right?
I mean, I didn't look at, I just
assumed all sitcoms were around the same, just because commercials
they are
probably
in
take
America.
up,
I mean, in
yeah.
America, they're 22
That's
minutes.
true, yeah.
yeah, we are talking about a Canadian export. I have no measurement on which to base this comparison.
Yeah, I can't think of any other, Canadian shows that I watch.
That are sitcoms.
I mean, most of the Canadian shows I watch are American that are just filmed in Canada,
Right.
which is a lot.
Kids in the Hall's Canadian.
I feel like there's a couple Canadian shows
Name
that
three.
we watch over here now.
Name
You
three.
you don't have to look it up.
I would say that Schitt's Creek is very unique. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know how to compare it to anything else. And I think if you don't want to think while you laugh or laugh while you think, you're probably not going to like this show very much. If you just want to have something that's mindless, although at the same time, sometimes it is mindless. The Roland character is not that brave. There's no layers to him.
You can kind of get out of it what you want to get out of it, I guess.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just really good. And actually, sometimes I post on social media, hey, I'm watching this show, and there was a lot of response to the fact that, people watch this show. They don't talk about it as much. We might be the first.
You need to publish this quick.
We will. Ish. All right.
We didn't say anything about the sign.
You can say whatever you want.
Don't worry, it's his sister.
Don't worry. It's his sister. I thought that was a funny episode.
It was
Yeah.
funny.
Orphan Black.
Right on point.
That
He's
was-
naming
Orphan
Canadian
Black.
Orphan
shows.
Black.
They didn't end up doing any more changes to the sign after that.
No,
Don't
They
worry,
just
it's a
put
sister.
it as a sister.
Yeah, the Don't Worry, It's a Sister.
I do.
Okay.
I mean, this is an example that you don't have to think at all, but the person in the sign's name is Horace Shit.
And
Rolling
much
shit
shit.
and horse shit.
Yeah.
And much shit.
Much shit.
Much shit. That's funny.
That's definitely a running joke. I mean, and rollin' shit.
Right.
Rollin' shit.
Right.
There's lots of puns.
Yeah.
Poop jokes are funny. See, you're laughing right now, Andrew.
I'm laughing at the way you said it. That's what made it funny.
I am brilliant in my delivery, but we already all know that.
Likely story. Are you going to keep watching?
Yes.
Duh.
Uh-huh.
So would you recommend this show to others, and why or why not?
We already did.
I would.
Yeah.
I have. I do. I did today. I think everybody can get something out of it. It's easy to just try. If you don't like it, then you only spend 20 minutes of your time on it, I guess. But
That's true. It is very low risk, low commitment.
Yeah.
I feel like if I know your sense of humor, I might gauge that. But otherwise, I would say, yeah, watch Schitt's Creek. I know there are some people in my life who probably would not find the show funny.
I think one of the people somebody who does panels with us started watching it and didn't like it. I can't remember who, but there's people out there.
and it's okay for people to be wrong. We don't. We don't judge them to their face.
Right.
Just
on
on
the-
mic.
Just on the recording.
Just recording.
I didn't name the name.
Even with the cast, I didn't think I would like it as much as I did. Like, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna, and then, but no, I really did. So, I mean, it surprised me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a huge fan of, Christopher Guest and, and Catherine O'Hara's Everything and Eugene Levy, but I didn't think I would like it as much as I did. So I feel like I would have a hard time judging who not to recommend it to. Because you could be surprised.
Yeah, you recommended it to your mom and she didn't like it.
I did. Well, no, actually, I didn't recommend it to her because I hadn't seen it yet. I told her to watch it and tell me how it is.
That is an important distinction. Amy, would you recommend it?
Yeah, I would. Like you guys were saying, I would have to think about who I would want to recommend it to, because I can think of some people that I know would not like it, but I can think of a lot of people that share my sense of humor that I think would really enjoy it.
I cut those people out of my life.
Wow. That got dark. Anything else you want to say about seasons 1 and 2 of Schitt's Creek?
Just overall good and one of my favorite season finales.
Season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, season 2, it just ended on such a good note. I loved it. I don't remember the ending for season 1, but end of season 2 was one of my favorites too.
I want to go back and watch season 2 soon now. Because it's been a while since I watched it. And I wanted to get through it before, but I didn't. So I might start that tonight.
Yeah.
While I'm dog sitting.
True confessions. Nick, you want to add to that?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Well, if you think we're good and everybody else thinks we're good, then we're probably good. But hey, don't despair, because this is only part 1 of a 2-part catch-up miniseries. As soon as the 4th season comes to Netflix, since we all mentioned we don't have cable except for Andrew with his internet bundle business, we are going to wait for season 4 to come to Netflix, and then we'll do part 2 of this miniseries. So, while we're waiting for this, and after having done that, I now have to say, CPU is produced by Back Pocket Productions, run by yours truly, the Cheap Couch Potato, and hails from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Please, if you like what you hear, take the time to rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or Google Play. That means give us stars, comments, reviews. Let us know how we're doing, what you like, what you don't, what we should keep, what we shouldn't keep. Just tell us. We're very open to these kinds of things. In fact, if you have suggestions on shows we might consider, contact us at our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, by email at couchpotatoesunitepodcast@gmail.com, or via Facebook and Twitter. Though we add new and old shows to chat about around the water cooler all the time, there's a big list in the intro. We have several more new episodes coming down the pike, and if you missed old episodes or want to know in general what we cover, we're everywhere. Find us on Google. People do, so I know you can too. So you can also subscribe to our website. Our our channels and social media to stay up on new events and episodes, which is probably the easiest thing to do. Until the next time, only the first 3 seasons are currently available to stream on Netflix. Yes, the little red icon who really should give us our subscriptions. But the 4th season will most likely appear on the service later this year. That has been the pattern of the releases. In the meantime, our Schitt's Creek panel will next reconvene to talk seasons 3 and 4 in part 2 of our 2-part catch-up miniseries once Netflix is kind enough to make watching season 4 a bit easier. So, until next time, until next episode, new episodes are published every Wednesday. Keep listening, keep watching, stay tuned.
Bye-bye.